Okay, so today we're going to talk about confrontations and why you shouldn't wait too long to confront or talk about what's bothering you, right? So, first of all, if you take too long to confront what's bothering you internally, well, we wait for the plane to pass by, right? So, if you take too long to confront what's bothering you internally, it'll like torture you, right? It'll torture you on the inside while you like repeat, you overthink, you know what I mean? You replay the conversation and you replay the moment over and over and over again, and it just becomes like annoying and tedious and kind of like torturous, you know what I mean? It's like self-torture and it's just ass. Um, but in regards to like confronting things with other people, talking about issues you have with them, let's say they made you angry or they wronged you in some way, take your time to think out your argument so you don't like make a fool out of yourself or embarrass yourself. But more importantly than that, take the time to think about if you really are right or wrong, right? Think about what you could have done better in the situation if you're in the wrong in the first place and you shouldn't even be arguing. And stuff like that, right? Now, when you do bring up the argument, let's say you got in an argument with your parents, and you ended it, right? About 5 to 20 minutes later, I'd say, come back and reopen the conversation with your thoughts on if you're in the wrong or not. And if you found out that you were in fact in the wrong in some sense, open with that. You know what I mean? Open with the fact that you were in the wrong and you could have done something better. Because that's like a indicator that you're really willing to talk about it and that you're not trying to blame. Well, you might be trying to blame them, but instead of blaming, try to notify them of the like things they did wrong. Don't attack them, just notify them and tell them like, hey, you could have said this and that would have been much better. So in this instance, my dad was basically like telling me, you're not going to do this and you're not going to do that and blah, 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 because I told you not to. So I went up to him and I'm like, this blackmailing bullshit is not going to happen, right? Like, it's not rolling. So what I did was like, a few minutes later, I came back and he got angry because I kept saying that we were going to be in this like venue for 4 hours, which is what he told me. I asked him how long are we gonna be there. He said 4 hours. So I'm like, I don't want to be there for 4 hours. And he said, I want you to be there. And I'm like, why? Because I want you to be there. What kind of bullshit is that? I don't know. Give me a reason, right? So we come back, and it's like I tell him. Well, he ends up telling me that, like, I wanted to spend time with you, right? Like, I wanted you to be there so we can spend time. And I'm like, well, if you said that, you wouldn't have this issue, right? And he was like, well, you went straight to like, well, no, first I said you went straight to all this blackmailing stuff. And then he was like, well, you went straight to saying that you didn't want to be there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm stating my case. And I was like, if you just told me instead of you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that, why? Because I said so. If you just told me that, like, you wanted to spend time with me, this would be a completely different story. You know what I mean? Like, this wouldn't be such an issue. So, what I would say is come back with your reviewed thoughts, put your ego aside because that will mess up any type of, like, reform or reconnection that you're trying to do, right? And that's what I'm talking about, opening up with what you did wrong. You need to put your ego aside for that. So it's like, put your ego aside, come back, apologize, and then notify them what they did wrong. Don't blame them, because then they're just going to become defensive, they're not going to hear anything, and you're going to get angry at each other again. And then you just restarted the argument for no reason. No, I hate restarting arguments because it takes me a little while to calm down after one, and after 20 minutes, I'm like, just let me get rid of the anger, right? But it's like, if you don't reignite the fire for like 5 more minutes, it's just gonna torture you for a lifetime. So it's like better 5 minutes of like an inferno than a lifetime of like simmering heat. You know what I mean? So just try to calm down, think clearly, um, apologize, and come to like a conclusion, even if they don't agree. If they're not being cooperative, you can just like don't say it out loud, but in your head, like fuck you guys, and move on with your life. But yeah.